What's up guys, my engine blew up a lot sooner than expected, so stick around to see the full front end teardown for this 13B swap, and it's legit like 20 degrees outside, so please drop a like to show some love and support, because I'm gonna need it. Started by removing the air filter and intake pipes, then remove the power steering pump, drained the radiator, started removing the fans and then the radiator. Removed the coolant reserve tank, then worked onto the front and side lights, followed by the bumper. I tried to remove my condenser, but my horn was in the way, so I had to take that out first. Then came out the condenser and any AC lines. Then I loosened up the fuse box and any wiring harnesses. Then I moved on to the windshield wiper motor. I wanted to paint the headlight brackets, but I ended up just taking out the whole assembly for both headlights instead of part by part like this first one. I removed my cat delete pipe, the speedometer cable, and the reverse lights for the transmission, and I ended up removing the rest of the exhaust to disconnect the drive shaft. I had to raise up the car a little bit more to squeeze in the impact so I could remove the PPF. Then remove the 500 nuts for the headers. Then disconnected any other harnesses and just started to just cut vacuum lines, just because they were old and I wasn't reusing them. I went back under to disconnect the transmission from the PPF. While trying to remove the driver headlight, I realized the stick was connected to it and I'd have nothing to hold the hood up, so I ended up just taking the hood off first and then removing the headlight assembly. The spark plug wires were a pain to remove, so I ended up just surfing on the engine to remove them. Now I'm working my way to the engine mounts that are on each side. Then I busted out the good old Harbor Freight chain and crane. Now I'm disconnecting any of the remaining harnesses and just straight up cut the fuel lines and just tape them up. The transmission was getting stuck onto the firewall in the transmission tunnel, but I ended up forgetting to remove the shifter from the turret. I went back in, took that out. I tried taking it out little by little, but it was hard because it was at an angle and the transmission was still catching on the firewall. Ended up calling it for the night and just waited for the morning for some help. Shout out to my homeboy DCT5s who drove down from Georgia to help me out, and also got some help from my neighbor Ryan. The transmission was still getting caught on the firewall, so I ended up pushing down and out while they pulled, and the car happened to fall too. Now I started removing some of the interior, working on my way to the dash, which this was the only thing I had to look up because I didn't want to break it any more than what it already was.
So here I am after I removed the dash, and now I'm just removing the wiring harness from the wall at this point.
Then I pulled out the brake lines, booster cylinder, and the clutch cylinder as well. I finished pulling the rest of the harness out through the firewall. I removed any of the smaller clips and ended up just removing the coilovers later on.
Special thanks to DCT5s and my neighbor for coming out and helping me pull the engine, because on the next episode we're going to be prepping, welding, and painting the engine bay, getting it all right and all that, and stay tuned for it. Thanks for watching.